we are back on part 2 of episode 47 of the Collecting Confidant with your host GunstarHero. On this episode, I am going outside of my comfort zone, covering a license that I'm not very familiar with, but I'm now becoming a fan of. We, of course, are covering Doctor Who, the Edge of Reality, plus the Lonely Assassins Dual Pack, which has come to retail as of late 2022 for the Switch, the PS4, and Xbox One. I, of course, reviewed the PS4 version for this, which includes 2 games, the Edge of Reality, which we covered in part 1, and now in part 2, we're going to be covering the Lonely Assassins, which is a totally different experience from the Edge of Reality, whereas with the Edge of Reality, that was a first-person adventure puzzle experience that was based off of an old VR game. The Lonely Assassins instead is a much smaller scale project, which is a found phone mystery horror game. And I'm going to say, I spent about 15 minutes kind of unfortunately trashing Edge of Reality. That game, it was playable, but not very good. And if it was just that game, I could not recommend this package. But The Lonely Assassins, the second game in this, is markedly better for a number of reasons, albeit there are still some problems with this, and I think this is a problem with Maze Theory's Q&A philosophy. We'll get into that shortly, but this game was a lot more fun, had me completely engrossed, and saves this package from being a total non-recommend to a partial recommend, especially if you can find this disc or cart for a good price. Okay, let's get into The Lonely Assassins. Like I said, this is a found phone mystery horror game. What does that mean? You're going to be playing the game literally on a cell phone interface on your screen, because this game originally, when it came out in 2021, was developed for the iPhone, Android devices, and the PC. But I would say overall, the best way to experience this game is on your phone, because this actually was not developed by Maze Theory. It was published by them, but it was actually developed by Kaigan Games, better known as the makers of Sarah is Missing or Simulacra 1, 2, and 3 for mobile devices. If you've ever played those games, they're very cool, innovative, immersive games where the game takes over your phone and you have an overlay of somebody else's phone. So you found this person's phone and you're interacting with their text messages, their browser history. You're able to call out and receive calls, interact with the gallery. And the whole premise is that there's a malfunction in the phone where there's glitches and you have to uncover mysteries and solve the riddle of what happened to this missing person and why their phone has been left out. So take the concept of Simulacra, put a Doctor Who skin on it, and you've got the Lonely Assassins, which came out again in 2021 and is now included in this physical package, which came out in late 2022, available for PS4, Switch, and Xbox One. This game is so much better in terms of fan service and in terms of scope than Edge of Reality was, because unlike Edge of Reality, which was ambitious beyond its means in terms of its schedule, talent, and money, The Lonely Assassins knows its limitations, works well within them, and creates a very innovative, if slightly flawed project. So, very briefly, the setup is you find this phone, which belongs to Larry Nightingale, who is an actual character in the show. I believe showed up in Series 3, an episode called Blink, but again, I'm not a huge Doctor Who aficionado yet, so take that with a grain of salt. But the actual actor who plays Larry Nightingale is in this game too. You find his phone. He has gone missing following some sinister events that are happening with this supposedly abandoned house. So now you turn on this phone, find that it's about to self-destruct, and then it is saved by Petronella Osgood, who is an ex-scientist with UNIT, who now tasks you as her companion to help search the phone for clues, unravel this mystery, and find out what happened to Larry Nightingale. So that is the premise. And I would say right off the bat, as a pro, again, it is written by Gavin Collinson, who was a showrunner during the David Tennant period of Doctor Who. He left shortly after Jodie Whittaker showed up, so he's definitely invested in the BBC Doctor Who universe. So from a story and lore perspective, it's pretty legit. And I'd say more so than The Edge of Reality, this game was a little bit shorter, but was gripping, tense, innovative, and had me glued to my seat the whole time. Mechanically, this game is very intuitive and is welcome to beginners, especially considering the fact that I believe that these games were aimed at casual gamers and fans of Doctor Who first. So the fact that my fiance found this game much more compelling, much easier to pick up and play, is indicative of the fact that it was successful, and you can see it in terms of its critical reception. This game got a lot of great reviews, and for very good reason. It makes really great use of the interface. So you're checking text messages, you're able to make calls and receive calls, you can check Larry Nightingale's browser history and look for clues. There's always something new around the corner, and especially in terms of the horror element, when you interact with the glitches on the phone and you come up against some of the classic villains in the Doctor Who universe, there's definitely this chilling atmosphere, which I really enjoyed. So overall, very effective, very engaging, and does well to interact with the lore of the Doctor Who universe and provide fan service from that regard. Even if you can't really explore the universe like Edge of Reality intended you to do, at least from a Doctor Who fan perspective, it's going to satisfy a lot of needs there. I will say though, again, there is a problem with Maze Theory's approach to Q&A because they were the publisher on this. There is one puzzle in this game. I'm not going to spoil it, but it involves a day, a month, and a year. Okay, you have to interact with a specific date to solve a puzzle to move the game forward. That puzzle, I can confirm with my fiance, is completely wrong. And basically is a game-breaking bug. I can't believe they didn't fix this prior to certification or catch this in testing. And that's kind of a blight on otherwise a great experience. So barring that, from a gameplay perspective, it's very innovative. On console, I've never played anything like this where you literally play the whole game through a phone. So I thought that was very innovative from that approach and kept me hooked, and overall had the effect of taking somebody like me who's never really watched Doctor Who and made me kind of a fan. And now, like I said earlier in part one, I've started watching the David Tennant era with my fiance. I'm really getting to the show. So from that perspective, the game did its job, in addition to being appealing to an existing fan like my fiance. So I will say The Lonely Assassins is definitely worth your time. And if you really do want to spend the money on this physical compilation, that is worth the price of entry. I would say I would even play it again because it was a lot of fun. So if you do want to buy this game physically on the PS4, the Switch, or the Xbox One, is available from major retailers for about $30 US. But I will warn you that Edge of Reality is semi-broken. It is playable, but is probably going to frustrate you more than anything. So I would say lean more towards The Lonely Assassins and you'll feel comfortable with your purchase. This has been episode 47 of The Collecting Confidant with your host, GunstarHero. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Later, Game Chasers, and peace.